evening. I'd like to call to order the Lakewood City Council study session, City of Lakewood, Colorado, on March 18th, 2019 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Paul.
Here.
Roybal.
Here.
Bootwine. Skilling. Here. LeBure.
Here.
Abel.
Here.
Vincent. Here. Beta.
Here.
Johnson.
I am here.
Franks.
Here.
Harrison.
I am here too.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone who's taken the time to come out this evening. We have a couple of presentations and probably have quite a few reports on different things from council and what's been going on as we just got done with a workshop. So before we start, I'd like to ask if you join me in a moment of silence as we reflect with our friends in New Zealand as to the tragedy that took place. One of the fundamental freedoms of a free society is freedom of religion. And it's an important freedom that sometimes is taken for granted. So if you'll please join me, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. It's always a tough transition. So will the clerk please read item 3?
Item 3, a presentation, 40 West Art Line project.
So I'm going to invite our principal planner, Alexis Moore, down, who has a presentation. She's got the fun stuff this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you so much for allowing me a few minutes on the agenda this evening to share an exciting award with you that the City of Lakewood and the 40 West Art Line project just received from the Colorado Business Committee for the Arts, or CBCA. CBCA honors organizations and individuals annually with what they call the Business for the Arts Award. And we just were one of 10 honorees who received this for 2019. The award is for exemplary organizations that have gone above and beyond to support the arts and creative industries. So we're extremely appreciative of receiving this award and grateful to the CBCA for recognizing all the hard work of this project. As you all know, the 40 West Art Line launched June of 2018 after years of community planning and visioning to implement this idea that was first proposed in an adopted plan in 2012. We received a wonderful grant from the National Endowment for the Arts to work with the community and artists to help realize this vision of creating this 4-mile walking and biking arts experience through Northeast Lakewood in the heart of the state-certified 40 West Arts Creative District. There are over 70 public art installations that were created with dozens of community volunteers and stakeholders working with almost 24 artists to create this 4-mile engaging experience. So I'm excited to be able to show you a very short video that CBCA created about the project that I think is just really helpful for anyone who's not as familiar with it and just kind of promotes, I think, some of the reasons that we received this award. So let me share that with you.
The Business for the Arts Award honorees are exemplary organizations that have gone above and beyond to support the arts and the creative industries. 2019 Business for the Arts Awards honoree, City of Lakewood and the 40 West Art Line.
The 40 West Art Line is a 4-mile-long walking and biking arts experience in the heart of the state-certified 40 West Arts Creative District. It connects 3 major parks in that part of the city, Aviation, Walker Branch, and Mount Air parks, to transit on the W Line light rail, the historic neighborhoods adjacent to the West Colfax Avenue corridor, a lot of creative businesses, art galleries, studios, and of course, Casa Bonita.
The 40 West Art Line wouldn't be possible without the partnership between the City of Lakewood, the Lakewood West Colfax Business Improvement District, 40 West Arts District, and then of course our grant from the National Endowment for the Arts.
The Art Line is incredibly important, not only for the neighborhoods that it meanders, but the city as a whole. And what it does is it offers an opportunity for everyone to experience the arts in the city of Lakewood.
There are over 70 public art installations along the route, and that art was selected by an art selection panel.
The 3 large park art installations were all completed by a single artist team, Punch, and they're all around the design and concept of the Stegosaurus, which is Colorado's state dinosaur.
One of the pieces on the art line that I'm most excited about is something we call the art line story totems. And these were designed by Nestor Fadak, and they have 2 removable art panels that right now have an art element called Hidden Dinosaurs.
Artist Katie Casper is known for doing interactive murals that are also games. And these artistic elements are ground murals along the 40 West Art Line.
What it has been able to create is it's activated a neighborhood that for many years felt like they had been left behind.
I think the response in regards to the 40 West Art Line has been overwhelming. We've heard nothing but really positive feedback from our community.
So one of the unique parts about the art line is that it's built a great partnership between the arts and our businesses, recognizing that they actually coincide.
The economic impact of the art line is significant. The bulk of the budget for the entire project went directly to artists and fabricators and designers, largely in our own community.
It's been one of the most rewarding experiences that I've been able to be a part of during my years as mayor.
With that, I will ask the mayor to please come down and we will give him the award. And I just want to share a couple of next steps for the project. We're really excited, actually. DIA, as part of its public art exhibit in the airport, is doing if any of you are familiar with the concourse going out to the A security and the A gates, they've got a rotating public art display cases that they're actually focusing on Colfax Avenue in April. And one of the display cases will actually have an art line, 40 West Art Line information, and we'll be proudly displaying our award there. So if any of you are flying through DIA in April, be sure to check that out. And we're also working really closely with all of our project partners, 40 West Arts District and everyone else, to continue to sustain and grow the art line. And we're excited that the next public art installation should hopefully be coming in May. It'll be a large mural at 1300 Harlan Street on a retaining wall that's got a lot of blight and vandalism. So we're partnering with that property owner to beautify it right next to Mount Air Park. I think it'll be a really nice addition to the project. And 40 West Arts is working on a series of summer events along the art line, free community celebrations and pop-up festivals. So stay tuned for more information about that. And I just want to say thank you again to City Council and everybody for all of your support of this exciting project, and stay tuned for all of the next steps.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Well, this is really cool, and it's a great honor, and I believe Lakewood or somebody associated with Lakewood has received this the last 4 out of 5 years.
I think somebody associated with Lakewood, yes.
So it's a big deal, and I want to thank Alexis and Roger. You heard Nestor's name mentioned. I believe he's also with the city for just all the energy that they've put into this and really helping the community realize their vision and their goals. Kathy was able to accept this on our behalf. It's a great event, and each First Friday continues to grow, and I heard the last one that we had with the Mardi Gras theme was incredible. So look forward to its future and to see what happens and how it changes and to see new art. And it's also open 365 days a year.
Absolutely.
Yep, as long as people shovel their walks, we'll be good to go. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Jacob, comment on that at all?
Yes, I'd like to comment. I was very excited to be asked to attend this. It was just a real nice thing for them to ask and to go. I was thrilled. And I think what people kind of need to realize is they were in the same, there were 700 people there, and they were in the same league with Bank of America, PNB, very, very large companies who probably have a lot more than a couple staff people and part-time executive director. And the recognition is coming from all over. It's now becoming regional. And if the council has not had a chance, I know that Adam and I go on a real regular basis to the First Fridays, I would encourage you to come. I mean, the energy in that part of the city now is just incredible. And if you see 4,000 to 5,000 people and dinosaurs and things going down Colfax, it's something to behold. So it was a great honor and great job, y'all.
All right. So as we do at study sessions, for those who might be new, we have a public input piece. And this is your opportunity to kind of weigh in and ask questions. It's not general public comment. It has to pertain to kind of what we're talking about, and it allows you to sit in our role and ask questions or be engaged in the conversation. Nobody has signed up to speak. Is there anybody? Well, his light's not on, but I guess he does. So it looks like nobody wishes to speak. I'll close that. Will you test your light to make sure? There you go. It works when you push it. Go ahead, sir.
All right, always a pleasure from the mayor. Thank you. Well, no, I just want to add a little bit to what Sharon was saying, which is just, yeah, it's very exciting to have the art line in the ward. I know last year we went to quite a few art openings, and it was a special experience going there to cut some ribbons and really just see this thing taking shape. And it's been a great amenity to the ward and the neighborhood. Every year Sharon and I have gone to a lot of the mural fests every year, and that's always a huge event with just a ton of people, and it's been exciting to really get neighbors out to have an opportunity to just see the neighborhood and also just see all the new amenities and sort of revitalization that's happening and taking place there. So anyway, thanks.
Well said. All right, anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody? Anywhere? Okay. All right, will the clerk please read item 4?
Item 4, presentation, Lakewood Advisory Commission's annual report.
This is exciting. This is the first, I think, report as the Lakewood Advisory Commission, the LAC. So welcome to our leadership, and I'll just ask you to all introduce yourselves. We know who you are, but the rest of the community.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Lawrence Leiber, and I'm the chair of the 2019 Lakewood Advisory Commission. I also served as a vice chair in 2018, and with me today are Vice Chair Diane Duffy and Secretary Nicole Melandri. It's our pleasure to review the progress Lakewood Advisory Commission made last year and let you know our plans for the future. First, a little bit of history of the Lakewood Advisory Commission. In 2007, the National League of Cities created a Building an Inclusive Community program. Inspired by this, then Lakewood Mayor Steve Burkholder and the council created the Advisory Commission for an Inclusive Community, or ACIC as we've come to know it, combining some of the existing commissions at the time. City Council created ACIC to allow residents to directly provide public input on selected policy matters. In 2018, the commission changed its name from the Advisory Commission for an Inclusive Community to the Lakewood Advisory Commission. This change was made to better reflect what we do and to clarify our mission. In addition, or over the past 10 years, the Lakewood Advisory Commission has taken on additional duties such as providing ambassador reports to the City Council, input from agency meetings. Commission members also work hard to stay educated on Lakewood issues. Over the past since 2007, the Commission has presented and worked on over 80 projects and assignments, including community celebrations. We recommended the city hold an annual family-oriented event, which turned into the Big Boom Bash, which we inaugurated last year over the skies of Lakewood on the July 4th. Recycling in Lakewood parks and open spaces, we presented a proposal to encourage the use of big belly trash and recycle bins. If you look around our parks, right now you can see big belly bins can now be seen in a variety of Lakewood parks and open spaces. Liquor distance requirements. Completed research and made recommendations to remove requirements for hotel and restaurant liquor licensees. The Lakewood Advisory Commission has been a proving ground for additional city service. 4 commission members have moved on to the Planning Commission, and 4 have moved on to the City Council, including current members Roybal, Harrison, and Goodvine. Our executive committee consists of our officers and committee chairs. Rick Ash chairs the Civic Awareness, Dave Ryan, the Neighborhood Committee, and Casey Hensley, the Sustainability Committee. Additionally, I would like to recognize last year's chair for this commission, Bruce Foistel, for his outstanding work and dedication to Lakewood. If anybody is here from the commission, would you like to stand up and be recognized? Woo-hoo. I know Casey said she wanted to be here. She might still be here, but she's, oh, where's she at? Oh, she's over here. She had soccer practice with the kids, so she's running a little bit late. Casey. Now I invite Diane Duffy to report on the committee and the accomplishments over the past year.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Good evening.
Good evening. As Lawrence mentioned, our commission is made up of 3 officers, and we have 27 committee members. They serve on the 3 committees that we have. The Civic Awareness Committee, they make recommendations that promote civic responsibility and participation through education, and they create a more connected citizenry. A couple of the projects that they've worked on, the Leadership in Lakewood program and promoting civility within Lakewood. Our Neighborhoods Committee makes recommendations that create relationships and encourage involvement within our diverse population. They improve neighborhood pride and the quality of life here in Lakewood. Some of the things that they've worked on, the Neighborhood Awards, now commonly known as the Mayor's Inspirational Award, that you probably are all familiar with. And we came up with some ideas for the 50th 50th birthday anniversary that we are going to be enjoying this year, and we've already started seeing some of those occur. The Sustainability Committee makes recommendations that support and encourage a balanced vision of conservation and renewal. As Lawrence mentioned, the recycling in the parks, otherwise known as the big belly trash receptacles, and additional community gardens are some of the projects that they've worked on. Accomplishments. Not very long ago, we brought to you the non-cigarette tobacco licensing. That took a lot of time and careful consideration on our part, and then brought it to you for your review and consideration. And that is something that I've seen in the paper very, very frequently. So I'm glad that Lakewood has been on the forefront of something like that. You also added the educational efforts to reduce youth tobacco use, which is another good project. A proposal that changed the name and the mission statement of the Advisory Commission for an inclusive community. That's a mouthful. We are now the Lakewood Advisory Commission, and we have a new mission statement that better reflects who we are and what we do. The Advisory Commission also works to further our education and improve the knowledge of the commission members. Some of the programs that we've had this last year is retired broadcaster Mark Kobrich explained different interviewing skills to us. City of Lakewood staff member Corey Peterson explained methods of how to conduct brainstorming sessions. Alameda Gateway Executive Director Tom Quinn came and informed us about all the projects along the Alameda corridor. Mary Duran from the City Clerk's Office helped the Commission learn about Google Docs and how we could use that to better keep track of our projects. The Commission learned how to effectively network and engage the community from the West Metro Chamber Director of Marketing Events, Ann Smiley. Attorney Ken Fellman educated the Commission on municipal broadband. Kent Behringer, the Family Services Manager from the City of Lakewood, explained time management skills to the Commission. And past city employee Allison Schreck gave us a presentation on how to give and receive constructive criticism. Very important. We listened intently. We are also continuing to revamp our research and proposal writing to share best practices and increase our deliberation of our topics. And now, Secretary Nicole Melandri will speak on some of our future plans.
Good evening.
Evening.
There are a variety of projects currently in the works for this year. City council assignments for the Lakewood Advisory Commission to research and provide recommendations include exploring the possibility of conducting a car-free day event, including possible locations around the city where the event could be held, researching and comparing mayor and city council compensation to other cities, looking into if the city of Lakewood should put municipal broadband on a ballot, exploring the need for additional veterans memorials in the city, and researching the viability of renewable energy program for Lakewood. Grassroots assignments include researching the possibility of Lakewood getting involved with lighting the 6th Avenue Bridge, looking into the ways the city can ensure healthy food throughout Lakewood, and recommending possible methods for community gardens being used as slash facilities. Some members of the commission serve as ambassadors for the city of Lakewood, attending other agencies and organizations' public meetings and reporting back to the city council on issues that may pertain to the city of Lakewood. We would like to thank Heidi Barthel, Lawrence Leiber, and Bruce Feustel for being ambassadors. Currently, ambassadors are attending Jeffco Parks and Open Space Advisory Committee, Jeffco Board of Commissioners, Foothill Animal Shelter Board, Jeffco Public Schools Board of Education, and the Regional Air Quality Council meetings. I'll turn it back over to Lawrence to wrap things up.
The Lakewood Advisory Commission has representatives from all 5 wards and encourages diversity and inclusivity on the commission. We work hard to ensure the residents have a voice in the community and feel valued. That said, there are several openings on the commission. I would encourage any interested individuals, be you in attendance here, watching online, or on Channel 8 to attend a commission, or excuse me, to attend a committee and a full commission meeting. Find out what we do, see if you might want to get involved yourself. I speak for the Advisory Commission in saying it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to have an input on a variety of the community policies and potential projects. We'd like to thank you, City Council and the Mayor, for allowing residents from varying backgrounds like ourselves to be engaged and make a difference. I'd also like to take the time to extend recognition from Margie Greer, Michelle Millard, and Ethan Westbrook for their support and guidance. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. This concludes our presentation, and please let us know, see if you have any questions right now.
Great. Well done. We thank you all for taking the time, for everybody that's made it out. I just have a couple comments, and looks like there's going to be some questions or comments. You've heard me say this before, but every time you put something together, the body of work that comes before us it's exceptional, and I really appreciate that. You've come an incredible way from its inception in the early days, and so it's been of great value and very meaningful, and you've tackled some tough subjects and felt some of the criticism, I think, in the community that we sometimes get in these seats as well, but you did the right thing. I want to mention two projects so the community knows these can be assignments from the city council, or they can come up organically through this group. And the relighting of the bridge on 6th Avenue is a really cool kind of ground up organic approach, which I think a lot of people in Lakewood would like to see. And then I know there's a new one potentially related to safety and driving safety throughout the community. So both very cool things. And then I will leave you with this. The ambassador reports are super helpful. It's great to be able to understand and get an idea of what's going on throughout our partnering agencies and see how that might affect us. So thank you. Keep those coming. And with that, I will start with Mr. Beta.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you for all your hard work. Just a couple of comments. One question, one comment. First of all, where are you at on the Veterans Memorial report? Can we have expectation when that might be?
The latest
ready?
Report that we have is it's almost finished. That we're still, I can't say next month or the month after, but it's close.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Stay tuned.
Good. And then the second thing is we had a very good screening committee meeting last week where our screening committee met and interviewed a number of new candidates for your committee. And during the course of that, we had some very interesting discussions about how we might be able to do a better job of clarifying, I would say, our assignments to you, that we don't always state them in a way that is helpful or clear to you all. So I think we're going to have and I know Councilor Gutwein wasn't there, but I know this will be something she'll be interested in working on with us to try and do a better job on this. So I will say to you, we're gonna work hard on that. Thank you for all your work.
Ms. Franks?
Thanks, Mayor Paul. Well, the screening committee did meet, and I'm the new chair of the screening committee. Certainly want to thank everybody for their participation. And I think really what I wanted to share with the public and with all of council is the really compelling things we heard was that as long as we are able to articulate what our goals are for when we're giving something to them to make sure, is it fact finding? Are we just wanting a body of information organized well? Or are we looking for recommendations? But as long as we're clear, they understand what we're looking for, but not really their slant on what, if it's just fact finding and we just want them to dig for a lot of information, that's a whole different thing than take all that information and give us what you think are the top 2 or top 3 recommendations. So I think as we start to kind of get more focused on what are the goals, what are we going to do with that, that will then inform them to where they can then know how to position what they're preparing. So that's really what I wanted to add.
Mr. Abel?
I want to thank y'all for the hard work you do and to let folks know that a lot of these things, most of what the commission advises us on is very useful and right on the point, but there are unexpected consequences that we really didn't expect, the fireworks show being one of them. In 2017, when we didn't have a fireworks show and community gathering, we had 1,800 calls for illegal fireworks on 4th of July alone. Each of those calls requires at least one officer, one police agent. This year, with our fireworks show that y'all suggested, we had fewer than 300 calls over 3 days. That is an amazing impact on our community. Thank you very much.
Mr. Skilling?
Just following up on Councilor Beta's point, on the screen where it showed all of the things you all were working on, is there a timeline for each of those, or is it we don't know?
We do have a timeline, and we do update that on a monthly basis, but we don't necessarily have a specific category for where they are. It's really either in committee or an executive committee. Once it comes to executive committee, that's where we come together to find out, is it something we want to push along or does it still need more work? There are a few that have gone through the executive committee and gone through the commission, and you will see those in in the following weeks or months. And there's a few more that'll be up for a full commission here in about another month or two. So you'll see more coming through.
It sounds like we've got a lot coming in the next few months.
You will, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ms. Gutwein?
Thank you. I also just really want to thank you for all of the hard work that you've done and just take a moment to recognize you for the non-cigarette tobacco retail license because you did a tremendous job putting that through. And I especially want to thank Diane, who really, you were the lead on that project. And I think that this is something that at the beginning when we started on this, I'm not sure we were all in agreement, but by the end, we passed this unanimously. And I think that a big part of that is thanks to you and all the hard work that you put in and the thoughtfulness and research. So I know, as I remember from being on what was formerly the advisory commission, some of these projects can take so long, and it takes a long time to get a project through your committee and then through the executive committee and then through the whole board and then through council and all of this stuff. But I hope that you all, can feel as if you contributed to our community, because you really have. So really thank you for the effort that you've done. And we're very excited to see your upcoming proposals. So thank you.
Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. I too would like to thank you for what you're doing, because I know firsthand that there's a tremendous and a significant time commitment that you're doing for the city. Basically, what you're doing, I don't know if everybody understands this, you're volunteers and you're not getting paid. And what I have seen of the quality of people that step to the table to do this, you are truly, sincerely interested in the quality of our community and making it a better place. Thank you. And I would also like to thank you for the variety of recommendations that you bring forward to us. It gives us a chance to see different ways to approach honest public policy. Thank you.
Mr. LeBeer.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I would just echo what everybody else has said and just say thanks for all the hard work that you all do. Everything that I've seen that's come through the LAC has just been extraordinary, and I know all of us up here appreciate it very much. One question I did have was, are there like historic relics or historic items that you guys have proposed to us that have not yet made its way through? I think I've been told things like single-use plastics or something like that is something that's maybe been through the LAC that hasn't. Are there things that you guys are waiting for us to get to?
Outside of what we're working on, I don't know what we've had that may have stalled somewhere, but is there something you were looking for that was something we can go back and find?
Well, I heard about the plastic one, so I was just kind of curious if there were other items that maybe, I've seen what you guys have done for the last year, and I know there was a lot of lead up time before that got to us. I was just kind of curious if there are other things out there that we should be taking up.
I think the oldest one we have is the car-free day, and that was from a year and a half ago. So outside of that, I don't know of anything before that, but we can research that and find out.
And Ms. Greer looks like she might want to weigh in on that.
I can just say that prior to these three being on the commission, and before we used to bring the proposals to city council and we just brought them to the officers at the officers meeting, there were some that were not followed through and acted on or put on the back burner. And so, yes, there are a handful of those, and I'd be glad to let city council know what they are.
Sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions for us?
You want to ask that question you were saying earlier?
No, I do appreciate the fact that you're looking at clarifying the proposals. We do get kind of down a rabbit hole, if you will, sometimes with those. So if you don't need a recommendation, like you were saying, just be clear that you just want us to do some research or maybe just gauge public opinion for you. And we're happy to do that.
Great. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate you, and thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right. So there's a public input piece to this. Is there anybody, there's some folks that signed up, but is it pertaining to this presentation? If anybody would like to speak on this presentation? Okay, I'll close that. Thank you very much. And moving almost into reports, I need to just get an update from council. So council tonight had the opportunity to reevaluate or re-engage on our planning session and try to kind of hone in to what our priorities are going to be from a large bucket, and kind of has been narrowed, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But there was a request from Ms. Hodson that she needed some clarity from a study session that was held in 2018 on 2/26 that pertained to Lakewood High School. I sent out a video clip, and the question was that needed some clarity: the removal of signs on the south side of 9th, leaving the signs on the north from Kipling to Independence. Has council had a chance to review that? Or if you haven't, then we need to take this up next week. Mr. Abel?
You gave us a point in time to review, when actually about 15 or 20 minutes before that is when we started compiling items for the consensus. So the point in time doesn't capture the whole picture.
So, Ms. Franks?
So to answer the question, one, I did not review it because I knew that there was some discrepancy. So I'm hoping to get clarity tonight on what to do because I didn't want to go meandering around in the desert. So that's what I was looking for. So I didn't prejudice myself by looking at anything. I want a little bit more context so I know what it is I'm timestamp being asked to look at, and then what the decision is. Did I hear X or did I hear Y? Is that what I'm trying to, so a little more clarity would help me.
Okay, so I'm going to request that you go back. You have the link on my email that I sent you, and I told you to look at 3 hours and 38 minutes. Yes, 3 hours and 38 minutes in. Councilman Abel said, or Mayor Pro Tem Abel said to go back 20 minutes, so maybe start looking around 3 hours and watch it for an hour.
May I make another suggestion? Could we get a transcript of the discussion from the presentation forward to the end when we hit our consensus? I think that might be a lot more constructive and complete.
Ms. Hodson?
I think we can do that. I'm looking at Margie. Can we get a... I know you are. Is that something we can...
And my lips were moving, but Jacob made that suggestion.
Is that possible, Margie?
It is, and I apologize. You said the which meeting is it?
So it's going to be February 26th, 2018, probably right around 3 hours, the 3 hour mark.
When
This discussion around Lakewood High School Park.
The recommendations
Recommendation.
and consensus going forward.
We can certainly do that for you.
Thank you.
council's discussion of it after the presentation. Thank you.
One more thing, Margie. We can work with staff. Kit Lammers, I think, did some transcribing as well, so we can patch all that together. That'll be helpful.
Is a time frame of next Monday, is that doable, or do you not know yet?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Gutwein?
Thank you. And so I guess I wanted to clarify also that the issue that we're discussing is the removal of the signs from the south side, in case anyone was unclear about that. Correct?
Well, so there was a question about that. In my email, there was a continued conversation dialogue about one way. That will not happen because West Metro Fire will not allow that. So that's done. Review and continue dialogue on the resident guests. So I think, Ms. Hodson, all you really needed was the removal of the signs on the south side of 9th from Kipling to Independence.
That's accurate. It's all about 9th Avenue from Kipling to to Independence, and it's on the south side. So it's the side that's adjacent to the school property.
Thank you. And then my other comment is just that I'm really hopeful that after we rewatch this, that we'll be able to put this to a close, because I would really hate to see us have to reopen this whole discussion. And we had the school board, and it was a 4-hour-long meeting, and we had, I mean, there's so much work that has gone into this up to this point already. Reports from Jay, reports from the mediation company. And so, you know, I did review the tape. I think it's clear. I will hold you all in suspense for what I've determined. But I hope that you will all just, you know, that we can finish this. The other thing is that I, like many of you, have been getting emails from some of the community about this. And I did let them know that we were going to be discussing this tonight, and some of the people from Lakewood High School are here. So I know this wasn't on the agenda. It's my fault, but we were told that we were discussing this tonight, and so I let them know that this is happening tonight. So just, you know, for the body, if it would be possible for them to speak, then I think that would be nice.
So thank you, I appreciate that, but there wasn't due notice given to everyone, and this is a study session where we don't allow public comment on anything other than what's before the body, so I can't go forward with that request. There's open public comment at our regular meeting, which will be next Monday night. Mr. Skilling?
Without beating a dead horse completely, what are we exactly going to come back with then in a week? Is it that we're then going to all vote on what we saw? Are we doing a re-consensus? How do we mechanically see this happening? We're going to take a vote and poll everybody up or down? Are we going to rediscuss this discrete issue and open it back up? Could the vote go another way, or am I just interpreting? And I also watched it, but are we interpreting what we see in the video and then coming back and saying, I saw this, I saw that? How are we doing this?
Ms. Hodson?
I can provide some context. That was, well, let me go this way. So you know, as an update, the school district did restripe the main parking lot, and that has yielded approximately almost 100 more spaces. So the school district did restripe. Public Works and CDOT are continuing to work toward creating a third northbound lane on Kipling from 6th to 9th. That's been a slow process, but that's pretty typical when you're dealing with these kind of partners. And this would serve vehicles stacking for the right-hand turn toward Lakewood High School. Do you remember that conversation? It will require moving some turn movements and eliminating the side-by-side configuration of the left turn lanes. This change would also create the opportunity to provide a right turn from Kipling onto 8th and into the school site. It's not clear if the school will allow that. So there's some updates and as related to changes that have happened. As the mayor just mentioned, converting Independence to a one-way between 6th and 8th was investigated. The direction we got was to investigate it, and it's not being implemented or further considered at this time. An on-street path striped off for pedestrians on Independence from 6th to 8th is infeasible due to the existing narrow road width, allowed parking, and adjacent drainage ditches. It would have worked if Independence had become one way, but because that isn't happening, it precludes us from being able to do an on-street path. And finally, no entity is pursuing acquisition of additional property for school-related purposes, as we know to date. So the only outlying issue is that on 9th Avenue, on the south side of the street, which is adjacent to the school property from Kipling to to Independence. That was a part of the conversation, but if you listen to the tapes, it isn't clear. So that's where assumptions were made by staff that were met with conflict. So that's why I asked for clarification at our meeting on the 26th of January. So I don't want you to think that nothing's been done as it relates to that joint study session. This is just the one point that hasn't been tied off, if you will. So thank you.
Well said. Does that suffice? So I guess to further answer your question, yeah, it's a yes or no. And I think that's what Ms. Hodson needs. Okay. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. Well, this is the most contentious of everything that was on the list. And it continues to be a sore point that there is the potential to take these signs down with that community. Having said that, next week's agenda is pretty full. We've got some very cranky issues to deal with next Monday. And adding this to our schedule next Monday, I'd like to say I'm not sure that's in our best interest or the community's, or looking at an honest public policy decision. We've got our plate full next Monday. There is not an urgency to take signs down. I'm not sure why we're even going to be looking at this for next Monday. So I'd like to say that we can push this off longer than that. It can be a very long discussion, and the people in the community are going to want to weigh in on this. So.
Ms. Franks?
So I'm going to pick up where Councilor Skilling did. A little bit more clarity. We have now asked Ms. Greer or someone in her department to produce a transcript, which will be one interpretation. And we're saying if something's unclear, then we're going to get 11 other people to do an interpret. So I'm trying to understand what's the benefit of getting another opinion of what was heard, because that's, the transcript. I mean, I can listen just as well. So I guess I'm trying to understand. It's a very discrete issue, as we've talked about. It doesn't appear to be time sensitive. For me, that's not a great use of staff time. We just have given Ms. Hodgson a whole host of things of which are priority. And so I'm unclear. If you're asking me to review it and come to a decision, then it doesn't seem like that we need the transcript, or if we're going to depend on the transcript, then the transcript will tell us what we need to know and we move on. So for me, to do both seems, if I disagree with whoever listened to the transcript, then now we're down into the weeds. And I really don't think that's where council is best using our time, is this far into the weeds. So I would like to, I guess, delay it and then make council decision. Are we going to relook at it, or are we going to trust a transcript to say, transcript read this and here was the outcome? I guess it doesn't seem like we need to be doing both. We got a lot of work to do, and this is a very small area of town. Not that it's not important to the people who are here. I appreciate that. But we just have to always put these things in, where does it fit and what's the context and why do we need to have double the effort?
So I appreciate that, and I think double the effort comes because we had a citizens group of stakeholders, community group, work on recommendations. And they made recommendations to this body, and there was consensus given as to what we should do with those. And there's one that there has some ambiguity. And so while it is small and while we are busy, Ms. Hodgson brought this up to us at our retreat. I asked council to look at this twice and to help come back and make a conversation. I understand that we have a packed agenda next week, but whether it is yes or no, it's pretty simple. I'd encourage council to look at the tape, listen, and let the chips fall where they may. It doesn't have to be a whole opening, and it shouldn't be a whole opening of this whole process. This is just to give that direction. Mr. Abel?
Well, I think the transcript is actual words that will show us what we actually said, and then if it's still unclear, we're going to have to discuss it some more. But it does seem that what we're after, Mr. Skilling, I think, is just clarity on what those, what our consensus was. And there have been some changes made in the workshop recommendation, partly from Principal Bach and his concern for campus security, and you certainly can't argue with that. So those changes, I don't think would affect the overall picture, but I'd like to see. And to put it into context, what we're talking about is evening and weekend parking. I mean, the high school kids, except for the construction that's been going on recently, those spaces are open for parking during the school day. So we're looking at the parking primarily used for the athletic fields on evenings after 4, I believe, and
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, after 4 o'clock. So it's not a huge thing, but we just want clarity on the consensus. And
thank you.
Yeah. And Ms. Hodgson, would it be the changes that have been made for campus security, I don't believe are impactful enough to take a look at how they would affect the rest of the plan we put together, but are they indeed, or should we look at?
Not that I know of. We stay in contact with the high school like we do with all the high schools, and that hasn't been brought to my attention in terms of the increase in campus security.
I believe the changes involve the 8th Avenue gate and then one of the internal gates between
the
Principal Box. Is that between the faculty parking and the entrance on?
I know. I don't want to get.
I'm just asking for.
I know.
Okay, never mind. Perhaps we'll see you in a week or two.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
And we can get that clarification from Mr. Bach, who's now in attendance, present, and accounted for. Ms. Harrison, your light's off. Ms. Gutwein?
Yeah, I just don't want to minimize that we do just really need to see this through. And I think that a lot of people left with the understanding that we were going to take those signs down. And that was also the recommendation after the entire community process that they went through. And the school district has completed all of the items that were mentioned, and we haven't done ours. And so I think that for me, this is also, I think that, all of the people that put all of this time and all of their hours, and they're here again tonight, are frankly going to lose some faith in our ability to do what we say we're going to do and to get things done. I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Ms. Vincent?
Yeah, so I'm just going to try to bring it home. So we're going to talk about, we're supposed to list, is that correct?
It'll be under general business.
Under general business? Okay. All right. Thank you.
And let me just reiterate to council, and listen, I know we're busy. We got a lot of things. I sent this email out on January 28th. So, I think we could continue to kick it. Let's just get it done. Let the chips fall where they may. We have had a lot of meetings that went from Monday till Tuesday. And tonight, we're not going to have one of those. So we will rejoice and be glad in it. Ms. Gutwein?
I'm just going to throw out one other option is that we could just watch it together right now and then move on because we do have internet access in here.
So I requested that, and that's not an option. And there was a suggestion that we need to go further back to the 3-hour mark rather than the 3-hour and 38-minute mark.
Approximately.
Okay. So it's not doable. We don't have the technology.
We don't have internet.
This is not. You were there when I asked.
Well, if the body doesn't want to, that's fine. But I think we all have internet here.
Yeah. There's been a request for transcript and
going back.
So no. Mr. Abel?
No.
Yeah. There's been, yeah, we could all go and we could watch it and we could all come back if that's what the group really wants to. I would suggest we go forth with the transcript, which for some folks might be better suited, and we will continue this.
And this is not an agenda item tonight, so that would preclude us from.
There can't be a vote. There can't be a vote. It would just have to be consensus anyways.
And I don't think we could even look at the film without.
We don't have an attorney here. We're all super sensitive to all the different parties and stakeholders. And again, I would reiterate, we've had a lot of discussion on this, a lot of time and resources from our Public Works Department and our Police Department. And many stakeholders, and so let's take this to the 25th under general business. We're going to have a busy night. If folks want to reach out in the meantime and weigh in, but I would encourage any public comment not to be about things that are outside of the issue that we're looking at. I would encourage folks that if they want to weigh in to please look at the recommendations and look at the same thing that we are looking at and weigh in that way. And you have that opportunity to email all the city council members on the dais. Cool? Any other input, comments? All right, thank you. A lot of different updates. So we had our retreat update. and there's going to be a lot more, and it'll be much more formalized. But some of the top issues in priority: 1 was infrastructure, 2 was sustainability, 3 was special/metro districts, 4 was economic development, and 5 was water. So those are going to be the areas that this council will be working with staff on over the next year. There's also 2 other very, very, very important issues that are on there, and that is open space. As you know, 2D passed, and so the prioritization of where those open space dollars will go, that discussion will start, and you'll start to hear more about that publicly. And then the housing committee will start to exist again, and our past chair hopefully will continue to chair, and she will lead us down that road on what we will be doing there. So look for that. I really, really, really want to thank this body. We started at 4 o'clock today, and we got a lot of work done and a lot of great consensus on the issues and on the priorities moving forward. And certainly want to thank staff for their hard work in lining that up and making sure that we had a smooth process. Some of us were in DC longer than we wanted to be last week. And Councilors Roybal and Johnson, LeBeer, and Gutwein and I had the opportunity to represent the city at National League of Cities. And we had some really great meetings, some important meetings with Congressman Ed Perlmutter, with HHS, Health and Human Services, as well as the GSA, and our Senator Cory Gardner, and some folks from the White House. So talked to them about a lot of important issues to the city. And I want to thank Councilor Bida, who was not able to go, but really gave us a nice framework for our discussion with the GSA. And it was actually kind of cool. We had some younger folks at the GSA, and we started out by just reminding them that the Denver Federal Center is in Lakewood, Colorado. So there'll be a cool event Thursday night, which was postponed from last Thursday, and that will be the Association of University Women at Holy Shepherd at 7 p.m. And that's going to be an event for Lakewood's 50th anniversary, and they'll have mayors, at least 3 mayors, myself included, past mayors, and then some video footage of Mayor Ritchie, our very first mayor, and some other stuff from Mayor Shaw and Mayor Morton. And so if you can join, I think that'll be a great night. Thanks for the Two Creeks folks for having me out. And Bear Creek High School had an incredible Colorado History Day and had people from all over the state presenting history exhibits. So that was fantastic. And while we were stuck in DC, we heard that you and our staff and our police did an incredible job ensuring that the city of Lakewood was safe and open for business as much as it could be. So thank you for that. Mr. Abel?
Got a number of comments from community members in praise of the way that we cleaned. We had the snow removed and how easy it was to get around our city compared with others. You know, we can't get to every street in every neighborhood, but we did one heck of a job, and I rarely hear compliments about getting snow off our streets. So if you would please tell the Public Works Department how much we appreciate that.
Mr. LeBeer?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to echo some of the things you said about the National League of Cities. We met, obviously, with some of our members of Congress and our national and state leagues, and I think we did a pretty nice job of expressing many of the issues members of our community have voiced, whether it was land issues or homelessness or infrastructure or the FCC's order on small cell towers, many other issues. I think we had a lot of fruitful discussions. However, I think one of my takeaways was also that it's important to do things locally and for this council to get creative to solve problems, because things don't move fast in DC and we shouldn't expect them to. I had also just mentioned I served on the Finance Committee for the National League of Cities. We had our first in-person meeting. We discussed many of the league issues that they're working on with the federal government. One of those was restoring tax exemptions for advanced refunding bonds and protecting municipal bonds tax exempt status. Some legislation that was passed in 2018 will cost cities like Lakewood millions of dollars that will go to investors instead of going to infrastructure. And our position is that if you really care about infrastructure, then give the money to cities, because cities get things done. And so I won't bore you with any more discussions that we had there, but I think it was a important discussion, and I'm glad we were able to be at the table for that. So thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Skilling?
Development Dialogue meeting is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Note the new time, 4 to 6. We are doing parking. For those of you staying tuned to our parking discussion, last time we had talked about a parking management plan. We're not going to go as deep into that as we had discussed last time. However, the good news is we will be talking about moving that forward to council, the parking management plan that I'm informed staff has been working on for some time. So that's encouraging. But we will be talking about some of the other parking issues that we did not get to. Mr. LeBeur's got some proposals that he would like to discuss, and so we will be discussing those tomorrow, 4 to 6, upstairs.
Ms. Gutwein?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Paul and Councilor LeBeur did a great job describing the value that we really got from being in DC and having face-to-face conversations about with some of the people who are going to be making decisions that greatly impact our community. So I really appreciate that opportunity to advocate for Lakewood in DC. And then I also just want to add that getting stuck out there together, we really bonded, and it was a good reminder that, we have a lot of differences, but at the end of the day, we have so much in common, and I really appreciated that experience.
Mr. Roybal?
Well said. I could honestly say Washington was a great place to visit, but I can honestly tell you it's nice to be home. Well, we were there. Just wanted to bring a sensitive issue that came out, and I wanted to reach out to our police department and say thank you. Thank you for doing a great job. We had an active shooter situation in my ward here, or our ward, and the police department, the sheriff's department, other municipalities came in together, and we worked as a team to get that resolved. And they did a fantastic job. So I just wanted to reach out and say to the police department, our fire department, thank you. You guys did fantastic. Also, we're having our ward meeting here Saturday. It may be a little lively. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen, but it's coming. So I just wanted to reach out and say that. And as far as Washington goes, I wanted just to mention a lot of times we kind of look at when we come from, like us here in the city of Lakewood, we consider ourselves family. And we may have a good, hearty discussion and may agree to disagree, but I will tell you that we went united to Washington. We expressed our concerns to our, federal government and asked them for their help. And, they listen. So we're going to see if we can get any action from that ask from them. But I think we did a great job there. I think we got what we wanted to get out there, issued and discussed. So it's moving forward. And by the way, Mayor Paul, you're right. I just wanted to bring out one more thing about the federal government. We are the second biggest federal employees in the nation. The state of Colorado is, and around this area, it's our city of Lakewood. So I just wanted to reach out to all the federal employees and say thank you for being here, and thank you for the economy, and thank you. And we look forward to having more departments moving in. We have the room for you. Come on in. So thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Ms. Vincent?
Okay, I wasn't going to say anything, but all you Washington folks over there, I would like to thank the 7 people who braved it in the middle of the cyclone bomb that came to the Ward 2 meeting. It's very much appreciated.
That's fantastic. Mr. Urbita?
Councilor Roybal said it all. No report.
Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. Well, I too had the honor of attending the National League of Cities, and I just want to say that I have never taken for granted the fact that it's the public and the taxpayer that is paying for us to go out there. I am very sensitive to the fact that when I go, to learn as much as I can the way other cities are addressing their problems, so that if there's something that we can bring back and look at things differently, we can do that. And you're right, the Denver Federal Center is actually in Lakewood, and they did need to be reminded of that. So I really want to thank the taxpayers for allowing me to go, allowing us to go. And one of you, I think it was either Dana or Pete, had mentioned that, we do have our differences up when we're up here. And sometimes we get cranky with each other. But the reality is, when we were out there, we did bond. And when you establish relationships with those that you serve with, I think that there is more civility, if you will, that we bring to the table with one another. And that's a side thing that can't be measured. I did attend a meeting that had regional updates from all the western states, and it's interesting. The bottom line is we all have the same problems, and it was good to hear that we're not the only ones. So thank you.
Well said. Ms. Franks?
I wanted to make sure that the public was aware that we've had a scheduling change, and the short-term rental discussion, which was calendared for April 1, has moved to May 6th. That is really intended to give staff more time to prepare better information for us. And I'll remind at the next meeting as well, I know there's a lot of interest in that topic, but the goal is it's a very complex topic. And so what we've done is ask staff to prepare us with some really rich detail for that meeting. So again, it's moving from April 1st to May 6th, and we look forward to those coming out to comment that night.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Thank you. Just a kudo out to the snowplow department. I would say the same as what Councilor Abel said. Rarely do we see a snowstorm where we don't get comments. I didn't get a single comment about the streets. However, I would remind all of us as residents that we need to shovel our walks. I got 2 calls from disabled people who could not get around in their neighborhood because the walks weren't shoveled, and they felt like they were really at risk. So to remind all of us that that's a really important thing that we need to do. So thank you very much.
Ms. Greer? Ms. Hodson?
Thank you. I just wanted to add on to what Councilor Franks just said. So in order to move the short-term rentals to May 6th, what we did then is take what you had planned for May 6th and put it to April 1st. And it's a tour. So on April 1st, you will be touring the Quail Street shops, and I'll have more information for you. We'll start earlier, maybe 5 or 5:30. I'll give you more detailed, but so we flip-flop those. Maybe a little bit cold since it's April, but so just dress accordingly, and we'll be touring Quail shops, so you don't need to doll up. So thank you.
All right, and I guess I would be remiss. I always thank our agent, Agent Hunt. Thanks for being here. But I did notice you have a black banner on your badge. We did lose a police officer in the state during the storm, so from the State Patrol. So we certainly send our best out to the State Patrol family. Thank you for being here, and we're adjourned at 8:09 p.m. Enjoy it.